The River Tales, Chapter 1, The Flower Princess. Author's note: this story has actually been around for quite some time. Before Asondreo was a nation, it was used as an oral story to tell how fire brings new life. After a time, it shifted, becoming a story to explain how the swamps became a swamp. After the Sevian Empire started to trade, the story got taken and adapted to fit their culture, the characters changing to avians. Now, the story is told in the icy lands of Carle as a warning against greed. There are theories among historians that Princess and Phoenix were old gods representing life and death, or nature and fire. It is also suspected that the name Princess arose from the retelling in Asondreo, and the original name more roughly translates to Daughter of the Earth. Phoenix, in the original language, translates to Son of the Skies. The version written into this book is the story told now by Kenkus, translated to Pralish. Once, long ago, on a big island sunk to the level of the waves, lived a young girl. Her wings were white, dyed green at the tips from where they dragged on the grass below her feet. Her talons were ever bare, and she wore a dress made loosely of a fine silk trimmed in gold. Wherever she stepped, flowers grew, and wherever she touched, a tree sprouted. She wandered the big island alone, spreading flowers everywhere she walked. At first, she was happy to explore, but slowly she grew lonely. She loved what she made, but with no one to share it with, the fruits she grew tasted plain to her. She continued wandering, making a paradise for her alone. She started to cry, and from her tears came streams. Streams turned to rivers, and rivers became lakes. She sat at the edge of a lake and saw the beauty she had created. As the suns set over the lake, it lit on fire, warming her. Even so, she felt lonely inside. She fell asleep under the stars and the moons on a bed of flowers. When she awoke, her lake was on fire once again. The suns, as they rose, saw her sadness and gave her a gift. From the fire on the lake rose a figure, a bright red and orange avian wreathed in gray fabrics like smoke. The figure, who called himself Phoenix, flew to the edge of the lake and bowed.
Dear Princess, I was created by the suns, for they saw your loneliness and wished, like them, that you too had company. I shall be your company until I die,
he said. Excitedly, she leaped up, running across the green fields to show him around the lands she had explored. When she turned around, she saw he had not moved from the edge of the lake, so she returned.
Dear Phoenix, why do you not leave the waters?
She asked. He bowed again, brilliant red wings stretching behind him.
I cannot leave the waters, for if I do, I fear something bad might happen,
he responded. She nodded, then said,
Wait here then. I will bring you what I love most about this world. I will bring you the fruits and the flowers I have created.
She left, sprinting to the trees she knew grew the best cherries. She collected a basket full of them, then ran to pick the flowers she knew grew the prettiest, a white flower in color, just like her. Next, she ran to a bush with leaves she knew smelled of fresh lemon when rubbed. She lined her basket edge with these leaves and placed the flower in the center of the cherries. She went to a rock where the softest moss grew, making him a blanket from it for him to sleep on. Last, she found a bird whose song was the most beautiful of all. She asked it politely to come with her, and the bird agreed. By the time she returned, the suns were setting and the lake was once again on fire. In the center stood Phoenix, a light like the waters around him as his wings turned gray, then to ash on the wind. Too late, Princess sat at the edge of the lake with her basket and blanket and bird and wept. Again, her tears made rivers, connecting to the lake in front of her and stretching out in many directions. She fell asleep in the blanket she had made for Phoenix. Again she awoke, by the lake turning to fire as the suns rose. When she opened her eyes, Phoenix once again flew towards her, seating himself at the edge of the lake. He sat, surveying the basket of cherries and leaves, and the blanket of moss she slept under.
Are these the creations you wish to show me?
He asked. Shocked, she could only respond with 2 words.
You died.
Yes.
He responded.
I am born every morning and die every night, as the suns do.
He paused, but there is no response from the princess.
Fire is not the end,
He continued.
and neither is death.
Then I can show you what I brought.
She brought the basket forwards first, handing him cherries to eat. He ate them, wrapping the stones and leaves she gave him and placing them in his pocket. When she handed him the flower, he did not take it, only looked at it from where he sat. He accepted the moss, placing it on the water for him to sit on. When the suns set, he asked the bird to sing, and he danced until his wings turned to ash, and all that was left was the silver reflection of the moons on the water. The princess watched and waited all night, and when the morning came and the suns rose again, the silver circle turned pink, then red, then orange, and out of the fires came Phoenix once again. For years they talked and danced and sat in silence. Every night the princess watched as Phoenix burned in the lake fires and died, leaving behind a silver circle. Every morning she watched him rise. One morning she had an idea. When Phoenix bowed to her, she spoke to him.
What of the rivers? Can you walk those?
She asked, pointing towards the rivers that connected to the lake. Phoenix thought, then stepped towards them.
The rivers are waters. They should be safe.
He mused, stepping onto one. When nothing happened, the princess jumped up excitedly.
I can show you around. I can show you the grove where I first learned to make fruit, the mountains I made to give some shade to plants, and where I first saw snow. All of it. I don't have to bring you any more things. You can come see them with me.
She chirped.
Patience, princess. I still cannot leave the waters.
Phoenix reminded her. Princess nodded, but rushed off along the riverbed. Phoenix followed and saw the grove she had first grown trees in and sat in the shade of mountains. When night came, he burned, just as before, but no silver ball was left where he stood. When the morning came and the river was covered in fire, no Phoenix rose. Thinking he was gone, she returned to the lake. When she arrived, there stood Phoenix. Right by the edge of the river she and he had traveled down together. Relieved, she ran to him.
I thought you were really gone,
she said. He smiled softly down at her.
Remember, princess, fire is not the end.
He shifted, glancing outwards along the lake.
Where are we to explore next? What wonders will you show me today?
Excitedly, she led him to a different river, leading him upstream and showing him snow. Again, for years this repeated. Every night he died, and each morning he was born again by the fires of the lake. For a while the princess was happy, but she eventually became restless, wanting to show him more than what was near rivers. They could only travel so far out before the suns set. She tried creating more rivers and lakes, but the land only became wet and soft, sinking under her talons. One morning she asked Phoenix to step off the waters. He refused, but she continued every morning to ask him to leave his waters and join her on land. Eventually, when the suns were about to set and both were far from his lake, he gave in. But before he did, he told her this.
You have asked me to step off of my waters, and I have warned you in the danger it could bring. But yet, you still ask me. I will abide by your wishes, princess, but know that what happens will be because of your actions. And remember, fire is not the end.
With these words, he stepped off of the waters, talons sinking into the ground for the first time. Where he stepped, the flowers and plants caught alight, burning quickly and spreading even quicker. Horrified at what she had done, the princess watched as the fires rose, spreading along the bank and slowly creeping outwards towards her. She turned and ran, but she was not quite quick enough. As the sun set behind her, Phoenix and her burned together, and from the pocket of Phoenix's grey clothes fell stones from the cherries the princess had once picked for him many years ago, along with seeds of many flowers and nuts he had collected during their time together. They fell, spreading out on the charred and barren lands around him, covered in ash as Phoenix burned for the last time. Many years later, 2 cherry trees stand firm at the shore of a river lit by fire every morning and every night. Where their branches intertwine sits a bird's nest of a bird with orange wings and a voice that sings the song of life. Every night it sings, repeating the phrase, "Fire is not the end." The princess, now alone, rises every morning after a fire with the opening of seeds, and burns until all that is green is grey and ash. She has grown to appreciate the world she is in and the company of the plants and animals that burn with her. Listen, young ones, for her story is one you must learn well, for greed will burn you.